I'm currently at Werribee Railway Station in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm currently standing on its third platform, which is this, which contains a historic station building from the 1850s, all the way from the days of the Geelong Melbourne Railway Company, my bad, before they got bought by the VR in 1860. This is the oldest surviving building in Victoria, on Victoria's broad gauge network, and it still retains much of the original building material as well, which is amazing. That's a horn of a Siemens Nexus train that's about to depart from platform 1. As you can see, no trains depart from platform 3. I rarely ever see trains depart this platform anyway. I might have seen it only happen twice in my time coming here. The train that is on platform 2 is a Siemens Nexus car. This one is formed as a 6-car block, even though each set is a 3-car. They just couple these up to maximize passenger capacity. And these guys were imported from Europe, and were introduced during the privatization of Melbourne's rail network during the 2000s. I believe M-Train initially ordered them, and then later Connex took over the operation of these trains, and in 2009 they were passed into the ownership of Metro Trains Melbourne, which is the current operator and whose livery is on these trains. So I'm just walking up to here. You can see a overhead gantry with signaling equipment and also electric overhead wiring. This is the farthest point of the platform I can go on, but without crossing the yellow line. Here's the broad gauge track that is used at the station, because Melbourne Suburban Rail Network and much of its goods lines are also broad gauge. 5-foot, 3-inch Irish broad gauge. You can see the Siemens car over here, and also this one. Well, and also the intermediate middle car, as well as the end car of the first set. I don't really see anyone watching this stream, unfortunately. Guess I'll have to wait for a few minutes for some people to show up. To the 2 people watching, can you share the stream around or something like that so I can get more people to watch it? That'd be appreciated. Oh, a fellow Australian. Brisbane. Hello. Hello. Let's get more Australians in here. Let's get more Australians in this stream, from Victoria or not. Here's a look at the Siemens cars with the auto coupler attached. I'm in Werribee. I'm in Werribee Railway Station in Melbourne, so definitely nowhere near Brisbane. Melbourne, O&B Film Reviews, Melbourne. Definitely nowhere close to Brisbane, I imagine. Nah, I'm not really a big fan of the AFL. I'm not really a big sporting person, if I'm being honest. I'm like the opposite of being sporty and all that, given the fact I'm a little fat slob, just walking around train stations filming them. Okay, we're getting people in this. That's good. That's good. So, to those who have just joined, this is Werribee Railway Station in Melbourne, Australia. This is... Then the platform I'm standing on is the oldest of the platforms at the station, having been dated back to around the 1850s. So, yeah, I'm standing on a heritage site. Here's the actual building itself. The rest of the buildings on the other platforms date back to, I believe, the 1970s or 80s. Well, the buildings on the other side were built in the 1970s, I believe, and the overhead wiring came around in the 1980s when the line was electrified. Before electrification, trains would have been diesel-hauled by locomotives before electric trains eventually took over. Okay, this is pretty good. You can see the overhead gantries as well as the signaling. You know, I tried to stream this like 3 other times before I did this attempt because for some reason there was a feature where you can share like the stream link on link to the stream on a YouTube community tab post. I tried doing that, but it kicked me out of the stream and it ended prematurely, and I couldn't get back in, so I had to delete that, those, and do this one. And I can't really share the link because it'll just kick me out of the stream and I won't be able to come back in and see what's going on. So here's the front end. Here's what the front of a motor car on a Siemens Nexus set looks like. Very European-like style you'd find in countries like France or whatever. You can see the edge of the other platform. This is for platforms 1 and 2. Here is a better look at the track. The 2 lines here are the Werribee line broad gauge rails. And I'm pretty sure these tracks are for like up trains, up towards the city, and this track is for down trains. So basically this track goes from Werribee, the start of the Werribee line, to Flinders Street and terminates there, and then trains would also come from Flinders Street and then terminate here at Werribee on this platform, if I'm not mistaken. And on the other side of those 3 broad gauge tracks, there's also a standard gauge line for freight trains. I rarely ever see any come here, and the only time I ever got to see proper action on this line was when I saw 2 Pacific National diesel locomotives on light engine towards Geelong, I believe. That was the only time I ever saw something half interesting on that standard gauge line. Too bad I'm not in the other parts of the city where a lot of freight action goes on. It's a bit sad, really. I think what I'll do, if time permits, I'll traverse out of the platform 3 and go onto the middle platform where there are actually services running. But nothing happens on this platform. And when I first came here today on platform 3, the guy on like the PA system saw me through video monitoring and was like, "Customer on platform 3, get off the fucking platform. There are no trains departing if you could not read the screen," or whatever. He was really trying to get me off the platform, even though he didn't realize that I was here to just show it to people on the internet that I probably don't know. Here's some of the advertising on the train cars. Remitly. Heard all about them sending money to loved ones in bloody India or something. I'm gonna create some polls for you guys if you're interested. Alright, I started a poll in the live chat asking for your opinion. The question is, should I do more real life streams like this? Your options are yes, no, or you just don't know. Vote away, chat. Vote away. If you're even bothering to do so. Now I'm exiting the platform, so you can get a better view of the rear end of the building. You can see it here. There's also a little Mikey machine, and Mikey, for those who don't know, because, you know, most of my audience is from outside of Victoria and also Australia, Mikey's like the little ticketing system for our public transport over here in Melbourne, for all the trains, trams, buses, and also, yeah, basically just trains, trams, and buses for all the companies owned by PTV, Metro Trains Melbourne, Yarra Trams, V-Line, CDC, etc. What does a Mikey look like, you may ask? Well, let me get mine out real quick. Here's what a Mikey will look like. As you can see here, there's a little grey card with the PTV logo on it. You just put everything else back into my wallet and put the wallet back in my pocket. So, yeah. Oh, hey, Corey. I'm at Werribee Railway Station, and I'm just showing it off. I'm on one of the platforms which has a historic station building on it, which should look like this. I already went through it. And here's like a little what do you call these things? I don't know. It's like a seating area, but it's also like built on top of one of the underground concourses or whatever you call them. I forgot what these are called. I have to watch Tate Said's video on the Werribee line again. Damn it! So there's that. Now I'm gonna go under here to the small little underground concourse, I think you call it. There's a little signage that tells that buses replace trains on the Werribee line. Now, services to Werribee line do get replaced with buses at night because of Metro Trains Melbourne testing out their new Extrapolis 2.0s at night. Unfortunately, I've not seen those tests in person. I only saw one of the Extrap 2.0s at Newport when I was on a down Werribee service. It was just stabled there, doing nothing. Oh, where are the other platforms at? Oh, they'll be over here. Here's a little kiosk built using the remains of a Comenge car, which had a little bit of an accident with a V-Line train in the 80s. So whatever was left was patched up to create this little kiosk. So now it lives the rest of its days serving snacks and all that to the passengers or other patrons that come here. Or just lazy ass photographers like me who just wants a bit of a snack. Oh yeah, what I just said was that the Werribee line services, the train services, get replaced by buses at night because they're testing a prototype for an upcoming train type, the Extrapolis 2.0, and they terminate the services and replace them with buses so that the rail services don't interfere with the test trains. Is what I said. Walking up to platforms 2 and 1 here now. Better look at the Siemens Nexus that just arrived at the platform not too long before I started streaming. And there's another one approaching platform 1 right now, and I think I might capture it for you guys to see and enjoy. Alright. At you come, your little train. Maybe I should do it like this, as I always do when I film these trains at the Werribee Station, which is like 99% of the time I go there. There we go. That was fun, was it? Now we get a sight of 2 Siemens Nexus just standing at the same platform structure, ready to just go to the Flinders Street station at a given notice. honestly, alongside the Comenge trains from the 80s, the Siemens are like one of the most common trains I've seen on the Werribee line, which is my local railway line. I literally live on it. I used to live in Hoppers Crossing, where obviously it has Hoppers Crossing Station. Yeah. In fact, I occasionally take long walks from my house in Tarneet, and I would walk following the Werribee River about an hour, and I'll end up at Werribee Station, where I can just stop for a little snack, or just film some trains some more, and then walk all the way back home in Tarneet, which I think is pretty neat and pretty leisurely. It's a good exercise, and the landmark I go to after the walk is actually worth it, somewhat, even though 99% of the time it's either just the same old Comenges or Siemens or X-Straps I see every time. Would have been nice if I caught one of the X-Strap 2.0s on one of the test runs, but I'd be asleep when that happens. So here are the two Siemens Nexus trains. Livery is kind of interesting. Yeah, so this is the PTV Metro Trains Melbourne livery, which is blue, exposed silver and yellow and white. They've had this livery pretty much since their inception, and there are these graphics on the side, if you can see this little graphic. This is pretty much a standard design for all the PTV owned vehicles. V-Line will have a version of that in purple, Yarra-Trams will have a version of that in green, etc, etc, etc. NCDC buses will have that in orange as well, I believe, to really give you the impression that they're all under one ownership, or under one